our schemes, both inside and outside zone. And, I think our back, in particular with Chase, as he gets the bulk of our carries, is really comfortable in that scheme. And something that we continue to, will continue to be a bread and butter for us. And it'll probably look a little bit different each week on how we do it and what, why we choose certain zones, whether it's inside or outside zone. But we've got to be good at zone. And, I wouldn't say that we've been perfect at it by any means. But I think it's been a good run for us, and it's going to be something that, we'll continue to hang our hat on. We got to continue to get better at.
And while it's not your bread and butter, do you feel like you can go power when you need to right now? And is that something that you've worked on in camp that you feel good about?
Well, that's a good question. That's one thing that hasn't showed up as much for us in the first 3 weeks is some of maybe our gap scheme runs. And I felt in the camp that we were good at them. But they haven't really gotten off the ground for us in the first 3 weeks. It's been more like zone and then kind of what you would say maybe our auxiliary running game, and that's something that is as we have a chance to kind of breathe here just a little bit for a day or two and kind of examine where we're at and what we're deficient in and what we're good at. That's something that something that we believe in our gap scheme run game, to your point about power or whatever the actual play is. But, you're talking about a double team and, getting guys pulling and those types of things. That's something that we need to be good at for us to be a complete running team.
Thanks, Barry.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Barry, Chase Brown, an incredible start to the season. Of the backs you've worked with in your career, what's distinct about him? What's special about him?
Well, he's like all, and I've been around some, like all coaches at my age have been afforded to be around some good backs. And, they all have a common theme in the fact that, one, they have a line and a group of receivers and running and tight ends that are willing to block and are good at blocking for them, right? And then two, they have natural instincts, which he does, and then three, tough and competitive. And so he's just uniquely gifted in that regard. I mean, he's a complete package, and he's really good when he has the ball in his hands. Got to protect the ball, obviously, when he has the ball. I mean, that's a big point of emphasis for us all. But he's tough, he's gritty, he's smart, and he's without talking in circles about him, he's just a complete package. Does he have things that he needs to get better at? Absolutely, he does, just like everybody does. And that's something that we're continuing to talk to him about where he is and helping him through that. But he's, when he gets the ball in his hand, he's a really good player.
The tight ends were very involved in the passing game from a receiving standpoint. How much of that was organic on Saturday? How much of that was intentional?
Just a handful of them were intentional. I mean, just as far as, obviously the goal line pass, the only eligible receivers we had on the field were tight ends. And so if we were going to throw it, it would kind of naturally be that they would be the ones that would be the target. But we were intentional about being in that grouping for the goal line package. And then, one of the plays was designed for a tight end on the rail route that Mike caught. And the rest of them kind of happened by nature of the way the call, unfolded during the game. And will continue to be like that. I mean, they should be involved just organically, to your point, in the normal flow of the way the offense reads and the quarterbacks reads. It should happen for them to be involved some, but it was nice for those guys to get involved. That's something that, I think we've got guys that can make plays and bring an element of threat in the passing game. It was good for those guys to do that for us on Saturday.
Thank you.
Quarter, Reggie Love got a bulk of those carries that when Chase was getting a breather. What has he done to kind of move himself into that role, especially with Josh being out?
Well, he's getting healthier and healthier, and he's had some in camp he was a little bit hindered, and as he started to come around full speed, he cares a lot. I think Chase Hayden as well. I mean, those two guys have kind of paid their dues a little bit behind the scenes to a large degree, and have worked tirelessly through off season and through fall camp and through spring to put themselves in position to be able to play for us. And we've got full confidence in those guys to do that. They're going to need to. Chase, I think it's been very well documented. We all know that we don't want him carrying the ball 40 times in a game. So we need to have guys in there that can provide quality depth. And we feel like that Reggie certainly has through consistency, and he made some nice runs on Saturday too, as well. So I think he certainly earned that right to get in there and to provide that role for us right now.
And for you guys as an offense, what's important to accomplish this week?
We got to get better. I mean, that's just really the bottom line of it. I mean, we've got to get better in a lot of areas. There's glimpses and there's moments. There's actually even quarters or even parts of the game where we play offense and it looks like it needs to look. And then there's those moments that it doesn't. And we've got to get more consistent. The only way you can get more consistent is being better detailed in your fundamentals and about what we're asking them to do, understanding the system better. And so this time that we have to breathe a little bit, it's going to go by really quickly because we've got an opponent coming to town next Thursday that I think is really talented. But we've got to take care of ourselves, and that's the biggest thing about coming out of this break is we got to get better. Like you either go forward or backward during these times, and we certainly can't afford to go backward. And so we're going to really press our guys and challenge our guys to get better. I think they all see that we've got to get better in a lot of areas. When you watch that film, including coaches, as you start here. But I think there's also some real sense of understanding from our guys that when we do play, we can be pretty good at times. We can be pretty good at times. And I don't know why I stuttered over that, but on that delivery. But you guys know what I'm saying. I mean, like when we play like we're capable of, we've had some moments this year already through the first 3 weeks that have been good offense. We just got to piece more of those together. And you do that through practice habits, because practice habits, they show up on game day.
Thank you, Barry.
Coach, how much of a priority this week has recruiting been for you personally and as a staff?
Yeah, collectively, it's been a huge emphasis. I know several of our guys got out, yesterday and even on, some today, yesterday, a little bit today, but we used it to our advantage and it worked out really nice. I think Coach had a really good plan with recruiting on how to attack it. So anytime you get a pause in the normal flow of the week and you get a chance to see recruits or, to be visible out in the recruiting territories, I think that's really positive. And so we certainly took advantage of that, Bob.
I know the signing date is still a ways away, but how do you feel about where you guys are right now? Now I'll ask Coach too, but tell me what you think.
Yeah, I think we're off to a really good start. I think we've identified what, the needs that we want to target from an offensive, and defensive standpoint from high school, like what we needed to get met with there. And I think we've done that. And we still got some pieces of the puzzle to put together for sure. And so, but as far as the start we got in the spring and the summer, I thought it was really good. And hopefully we can, finish that out in a way that's really strong once that gets closer to signing day and it becomes a little bit clearer about exactly how we're going to finish down the stretch from a recruiting standpoint.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Bob.
Coach, as far as Tommy DeVito goes, can you maybe put a grade on his first 3 weeks and maybe what are some areas you want to see going forward?
Well, I don't know if I want to put a letter grade on it. I think, he's probably been to some degree a microcosm of kind of us offensively. I mean, there's been moments where he's played really well and made some really nice throws and aggressive throws and taking care of the ball. And then there's been moments where, that hasn't necessarily been true. That's the life of a quarterback. I mean, when you're playing in this system or any system pretty much anymore, every play is a decision. So you're going to be wrong some. And one thing that's not altered is the first 3 weeks are not wavered with him is his competitive spirit. I think his belief in himself and the guys that believe in him around our offense believes in him. And I think that's merited. I think he's earned that. And so I think Tommy's played pretty well, to be honest with you. I thought the other day that's hard on a quarterback the other day. You start the game with an interception and then your next throw is backed up. And then your next throw is a third down backed up, where the ball's in a critical area. And I think it said volumes about him the other day. I was super impressed with that little series. It was kind of an unspoken deal because nothing came out of it. He threw a pick, and then the next time we get the ball, we're back on our, I think, about a 7-yard line or something like that, 7 or 8. I can't remember. We threw a sprint out and had a chance to catch the ball. Then he threw a third down completion to Isaiah that was just like a very definitive, strong decision by him. He unleashed the throw, threw it right where our guy could catch it, nobody else. And I thought, man, that was, I even told him that. I was like, dude, that was good. Like that was like tough. That takes some grit and to be able to do that. And he bounced back from that. And then he, during the middle of the game, really, to be honest with you, the rest of the game, other than a decision or two, I thought he played really well. And so I like where Tommy's at. His letter grade would probably be harder on him than what my letter grade would be for him. And so the good news is the report card is going to be at the end of the year. But as we are right now, the progress report is, I like where he's at. And we're going to continue to develop and put our faith and trust in him. And I think he's just going to continue to get better and better and play at a higher and higher level, because I like where he's trending. Not perfect, some things to clean up for sure, just like the rest of our team. But I like the way he's competing and playing right now.
Thanks, Barry.
Coach, I just have one quick one. Back to recruiting. I assume you're starting to evaluate 2024 and 2025 quarterbacks. For this scheme, what are some of the qualities that you're looking for when you look at their film?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think you're looking for some level of athleticism. You can see the way that we played here in the first 3 weeks. We haven't run our quarterback a lot. He's ran some. All quarterbacks run at some point. They all do, whether you want them to or not. But like from a design standpoint, we hadn't had a lot of design runs. We've had a few in short yardage. So I think athleticism to a certain level is a I wouldn't say it's a premium, but it's something that's a ingredient. There's got to be some level of that for us, I think, to be efficient. And I think Tommy does such a good job in getting rid of the ball quickly in the short passing game and stuff that goes on the perimeter to supplement our run game. I think that's a really important quality, is that somebody can be really accurate and all the while being really quick in their release. So those are just a couple of the things I think that we're trying to identify. Stature is not as big to me as it. It doesn't necessarily have to be a premium. I don't have to have a guy that's a certain amount of height and weight, or as long as they, can lead and win, all those unspoken traits are the obvious ones that we all want, but just some of the couple of ones that you asked me about physically, those are a couple of the ones that come to mind.
Thank you.
Barry, I just had a quick follow-up. How do you guys as a coaching staff balance when you see the good of moving the ball down the field and kind of those moments you talked about versus maybe the frustration of the other side of those moments? Like what's the balance for the coaches there?
Well, that's coaching, right? That's always what you, the way you look at the game. There's always going to be good and bad. And I think understanding that is really important to understand. No matter how well you play from a production standpoint or how poorly you play, every game's going to have some good involved in it. And then every game's going to have some bad in it. The challenge there is to get a whole lot more good to show up than there are bad and correctable, because every game there's going to be things that need to be corrected. There's going to be mistakes made. There's going to be mistakes made from a coaching perspective. And as you look back on those games, you always want to try to minimize those, right? So how can I minimize the things that are rearing its head that are stopping us from moving the ball, right? And so I think you have to celebrate, especially when you win the game like we did. Obviously our defense played lights out. It was a total team effort. Obviously the way our defense played afforded us not to have to get away with the turnovers that we had the other day that were so costly, right? But you can't play games like that. You can't count on that, even though our defense is so steady and strong. Like, we got to control our side of the ball and play a cleaner version of the way we played the other day. If we'll do that, I really like the idea of that, because there are those moments that have been really positive. To your question, Joey, it's like you have to celebrate the good. Like, man, this is really good, guys. Like, this is really good fundamentals. This is good execution. And on the flip side of this is not winning football. And to get our guys to understand that, and most of it's to the naked eye, you can pick that out, but it's the little details that maybe there's something that happened bad that was actually a good result of the play that we just got away with it this time because maybe we didn't get exposed. So you're always trying to punch holes in that. And so it's our job, it's my job as a coach to make our guys understand, hey, there's some moments here that are really good and these are not good. And let's keep pushing to try to purge these moments that stop us from moving the ball, and continue to embrace these ones that help us.
Thank you, Barry.
We're good.